Yetta, do we still need a guide?
We certainly do, depending on where we're going and how effortlessly we want to get there. Right?
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
And so we've created for you over 587 Life's Inside Track episodes where we share insider tips, making house home, how to get the most out of your space. And the great news is you get access to them from home, from the office, on the go, either audio, podcast style, or video. And if you want to get the episodes when they first come out, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Decker Team YouTube channel, not just any YouTube channel, ours. And so what we're going to explore in this segment is who should be on your team of guides. Because we've been saying a guide, but we're really not saying a guide. We're saying a team of guides.
Yeah.
Depending on what you want to accomplish, will take more or less people.
Right.
And then there's a special guide that isn't a who.
It's your internal guide. And what is your internal guide?
It is why I want to build wealth. If we're talking about real estate investing, which is primarily what we're talking about in this particular segment. So why do I want to do that is part of my guide. And if I don't know it, when things get hard, what's the risk?
I get out.
Just when things were going to get good.
Yeah. So when we talk about why, sometimes people believe they need I'll call it a spiritual why, an enlightened why. It's like, oh, I want to build wealth so that I can feed children or I can put water in Africa or wherever. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fantastic.
Maybe your why.
Maybe. And don't make it up if it's not.
Right. Because then it's not your why.
And it won't drive you.
It won't.
And you know what we learned recently in a book called, what was it called?
Gain and Gap.
The Gain and the Gap. And sometimes your why, just because you want to and you have passion to, is enough.
Right, because you desire to. So you get to ask yourself, is the internal why that you have for doing this thing enough to get you over the hard times? And there's other segments that we've done talking about what's your commitment. Is your commitment till it gets hard, or is your commitment until you get it finished? And so those are great segments to go back and really recalibrate with a lot more about the why.
That was with our guest, Suzanne Hart, that show.
It was. So might be worth watching that one. If you're saying, I don't quite understand this why thing, go on back and watch that one. And right now, we're really primarily focusing on who. Who needs to be on the team if you want to buy successfully and own successfully. See, it's not about the buying, really. It's about the owning and the benefits of the owning.
Yeah, and I think it partially your list of team members depends on whether you're buying for your personal self or you're buying as an investment property. Because when you're buying as an investment property, you actually need more professionals than you do if you're just buying it to live in it. And
you need different, I was going to say quality, but you need different guides that have expertise in specific areas. Because a realtor that may be really helpful to help you buy your principal residence may never have owned real estate investments.
And or commercial.
Or commercial. Or even the lawyer. If your lawyer, which is one of the people you should have on your guides, so we're going to give a list, right?
Yeah, lawyer is one of them.
Lawyer is one of them. Of course, the standard is you want a building inspector. And you actually do want a building inspector if you're doing investing, which is where our focus is right now, investing in real estate, that understands investment real estate, because there's different considerations, such as maintenance is a different conversation. The aesthetics are a different conversation. Safety is a different conversation. Fire separation is a different conversation when you're dealing with multifamily residential. So you need actually a building inspector that has expertise in the style of real estate that you're purchasing and even for the reason that you're purchasing. And if they don't own any of their own, they just aren't going to intrinsically know things that they need to know to help you.
Yep. And a commercial purchase is different. And lawyers are not lawyers. Like when you want a lawyer, you want a real estate lawyer. And if it's commercial, you want a real estate lawyer that understands commercial because they're different. And a lawyer that has a general practice won't be set up as well and as efficient to handle a real estate transaction because there's lots of lawyers that's all they do is real estate transactions.
And you really want somebody that invests in real estate if we're having an investment conversation because they understand the HST implications differently. Like they're just, and it's not even like they understand it better. It's just in their blood.
Well, same thing with the accountant, right? Now you want tax advice. You want a tax expert. And hopefully that tax expert also invests in real estate because if they do, they know it more intimately because they've lived it.
Right. So that's another team member. An insurance broker. And an insurance broker, and I know now you're going, guys, you're stretching it. These people actually have to have done what I want to do. It'll benefit you.
Yeah.
Like hands down, it is a super wise choice. And 30 some odd years ago when we started investing, we didn't have a clue about this stuff. We didn't know that it mattered that the people we were working with didn't actually personally have involvement with real estate investing in all the different guides that we needed. And things didn't go as well.
Yeah. Like, there's clients of ours that have got multiple doors now, but when they started out, they had 1, 2, 3 doors. Regular insurance broker was fine. They were getting their insurance. But then at a certain point, that insurance company says, no, you can't buy any more doors. We will not insure you. So, even if you buy another door and insure it with someone else, we're going to cancel your other policies because that's not in our mandate or that's not in our business plan to insure someone that has that many properties. So knowing what your goals are at the beginning as to how many properties tells your insurance broker and kind of moves you towards a insurance broker that has that understanding.
Right. And when he says doors, he's talking not that we have a front door and a back door and a side door. He's talking doors in relation to how many residential or commercial units that you own. So although each one may have 2, 3, or 4 doors, it's how many living spaces or rentable spaces equals a door. Because we forget that sometimes we start speaking like realtors.
We always speak like realtors, unfortunately.
No. Lots of time I remember who I am because I too was a regular investor learning all this stuff at one point.
And the mortgage broker is the same thing. Because certain lenders, you get too many properties, they don't want to lend to you anymore. So knowing what your end game is helps the mortgage broker, the experienced mortgage broker, know where to send you, how to make that work. Yeah,
it's such a big deal. So if you've become part of our community yet, meaning you haven't had the chance to already work with us. If you have, you're part of the family. If you'd like to be part of the community and be kept up to date ongoingly about workshops we're hosting, new information that's coming out, what you want to do, send us an email, together@deckerteam.com, so that we can stay connected between Life's Inside Track episodes.
So what I believe is who you know and listen to is even more important than what you know. So together, we're clarifying options so that your wisdom will flow.
Moving forward with the Decker team.